Okay, let's start. Gail, would you open us up in prayer, please?
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us through this first week of the new year. Thank you, Lord, for bringing us this place back safe. Bless this lesson, Lord, may it enrich our hearts and our knowledge of you. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Okay, welcome to those of you who are here for the first time. This is our Bible study. We're pretty informal. So if you have a question or anything to say, you're welcome to do that at any time. Has everyone met everybody?
Yes.
Okay? All right. Now, I'll tell you this now, guys. I do not remember any of your names. I really have problems remembering names the first time we meet. So if I look at you and I don't call your name, don't be offended. It's because I don't remember people's names the first time we meet them. It takes probably 9 times. No, it's not that often. It takes more than once for me. I'm Donald, and welcome you here. We are studying. Our study is in the book of Hosea. Hosea is in the Old Testament near the end. Hosea is one of a group. The book is one of a group of books called the Minor Prophets. Minor not in that they're less important than any other books, but minor in that they're the shorter of the prophetic books. The longer ones like Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, those are long books. Hosea and that group are short books, and so they're called minor because of the length of them. Hosea, we started last week, and we got almost finished chapter 1, but just a little review. When we started our study, we first of all we learned that we don't know much about Hosea in the book or in history, other than the fact the only thing in the book that indicates who he was, that it says in I believe it's verse 1 that he was the son of Beeri, B-E-E-R-I. Now some Jewish writers think that the man, his father, was the same man who's mentioned in the book of Chronicles as being taken into exile by Assyria. If you want to, just a quick note, that's in 1 Chronicles chapter 5, verse 6. And I'll read it, don't need to go there. And it says, Bera, and it's spelled differently there, his son, whom Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, carried into captivity, he was the leader of the Reubenites. That's just to let you know, that's all we know about Hosea, and that may or may not be his father. The names for me, some Jewish writers think he is. What we did learn was that Hosea was a prophet primarily to Israel. If you remember, after Solomon's reign, the nation of Israel split into 2 parts because his son refused to listen to some people that came and said, your father was tough on us, lighten up a little bit. And he said essentially, if you thought my father was bad, wait till you hear from me. So they split. So 10 of the tribes of Israel went with a guy named Jeroboam, okay, and they formed what's called the Northern Kingdom, which was called Israel when you read in the Bible. The other 2 tribes, Judah and Benjamin, stuck with David's dynasty, and they were called Judah. That was the Southern Kingdom. Now, so Hosea was primarily a prophet to Israel, the Northern Kingdom. Though that in the book, as you read it, there are some references to Judah in the book. His prophecies started during the 41-year reign of Jeroboam II. This is not the first guy who split, but started in about the 8th century BC. His ministry extended over a 55-year period, and the reason we know that is that if you read in Hosea, the very first couple of verses, he talks about Jeroboam. Then he lists 5, I believe, kings of Israel, of Judah. What verse is that? Remember, you got it there?
One I see where it says Uzziah, Jotham, Ahuz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah.
Okay, so those kings reigned over a 55-year period. So that's how we know his prophecies covered about a 55-year period. And it may have included the fall of Israel to Assyria. What happens is Assyria captures, or Israel falls to Assyria in 722 BC. And all those folks in the northern kingdom, Israel was taken into exile in Assyria. But the other thing that while he was doing his prophetic period, it was a time of prosperity for both Israel and Judah. They're very prosperous. But during that time of prosperity, it was also a time of idolatry. Both Israel and Judah were primarily agricultural nations, okay? And the nations that are around them worship fertility gods. That's who you worship. You're pagan for you know, for you have rain and your crops to grow and your cattle. So the nation of Israel saw that, and they also began to worship fertility gods, idols, and they did not. It wasn't that they stopped worshiping God, but they were worshiping those idols in addition to God, so that they could make sure that we had big crops. Okay, so we're gonna try to cover all of our bases. Was their idea? Well, obviously, as you know, God says, told them that that they were not to have any other gods before Him. So that was a problem. So Hosea was one of the prophets to the nation of Israel. Now, here's what happened. What's interesting about this book, and interesting as we'll see it, God uses Hosea's family life to demonstrate the relationship that Israel is having with him. Right? Hosea marries, and as a matter of fact, the book says, Hosea says God told him to. Hosea marries a woman named Gomer, okay, who's described as depending on which translation, looking at a harlot, an adulteress, or a prostitute. Okay. Now, chances are, since Hosea said God told him to marry her, chances are that she was not those things, or did not exhibit that behavior until after the marriage to Hosea. The reason I say that is because God had told the children of Israel in the wilderness that idolatry was a crime, a sin punishable by death. So God obviously wouldn't tell a guy beforehand to marry. Now, obviously, God knew what Gomer was going to do later. So He says, marry her, because now the relationship with him and her is going to demonstrate the relationship that Israel's having with God. Okay? Right? Okay, so, again, this is a review. So Hosea marries Gomer. They have 3 children. Okay? The names of the children kind of indicate the state of the relationship between Israel and God. Okay? They have 2 boys and a girl. The first was a boy by the name of Jezreel, and that name means God scatters or God sows. And when you sow, you grow seed. God scatters. Okay. The second child was a daughter named Lo Ruha, and that name means no compassion or not pitied. Okay. That meant that God's not going to have compassion now. Right? Okay. And the third, a son, was named Lo Ami, Lomaai, and that name means not my people. Okay? So last week, as we read in chapter 1, God tells Hosea to marry Gomer, the names of children, and we ended up last week after talking about the second child, Lo Roha, okay, which says she's not pitied or there's no compassion. So let's start reading. We're just going to go a couple of verses at a time, and then we'll go later. Somebody wants to read Hosea chapter 1, verses 8 and 9.
Chapter 1,
8 verses 8 and 9. Hosea chapter 1, verses 8 and 9. Whoever.
Now, when she had what's that?
Weaned.
It's a low
Lo Ruhama.
She conceived and bore a son.
Conceived, yeah. She conceived, yeah.
Conceived and bore a son. Then God said, call his name Loami.
Yeah. Go
You
on,
are not my people, and I will not be your God.
Okay, so stop. All right. So lo ami means you are not my people. So, and there's a couple ways to look at this. Remember Hosea is married to a harlot. Okay? A couple of things. So it's possible even that this wasn't his child. We don't know that. But that's the child was named, not my people, right? So that's possible. But every time he looked at that child and called a name, perhaps that meant something. All right. So that's very, very possible. Now, this is not what saying, for you are not my people and not my God, is not so much a sentence or a penalty. It's just a fact, right? So it was a fact. It isn't that the people really wanted. It isn't as if the people didn't really want to be people of God. God didn't want to have anything to do with them. Okay, right? At this time, because they had rejected God, right? And now this is just stating a fact. Okay, you are not my people. So it's like let's not pretend anymore. Okay, you are not my people. So let's go now. Read verses the last two verses in the first verse of chapter 2. That's 10.
The Israelites will be like the sands of the seashore, which cannot be measured or counted. In the place where it was said to them, "You are not my people," they will be called sons of the living God. The people of Judah and the people of Israel will be reunited, and they will appoint one leader, and will come up out of the land. So great will be the day of Jezreel. Say of me, your brothers, my people, and of your sisters, my loved ones.
Okay, so though God has promised, remember this is a prophetic book, right? Though God has promised judgment in the name of those other kids, right? The names and what he said about it. He's promised judgment. That judgment won't last forever. Those days of judgment won't last forever. And after the judgment, there'll come a time of prosperity and blessing. Okay, so God would fulfill the promise of the name Lo Ami, which means you're not my people, right? Okay, it would, but again, it wouldn't last forever. One day, Israel will return to the Lord and once again be called sons of the living God. That's what it says, right? That they'll be gathered together. That's what verse 11 says. They'll be gathered together, appointed up, and then verse 1 of chapter 2 says, "Say to your brother and my people and your sisters, mercy is shown." So that judgment not going to last forever. So when then he's saying the children of Judah, okay, and the children of Israel will be together, and with a complete restoration, so there'll be no more division. When can we say that happened, or has it?
No. There's still division among the churches.
There's division among the churches. However, now remember when Christ came, the Messiah came, and the Messiah was crucified, buried, and rose again. Okay, then what happens there's now no more division between God's people, whether they're Jew or Gentiles. Now, so what we're talking about, the church itself has division, but God's people, right, are no longer divided. All right. So go to Ephesians. Go to Ephesians chapter 2. I'm going to read verses 14 and 15.
Which verse?
Ephesians 2, 14 and 15. Yeah, read that. Yeah, somebody read that.
Do all things without complaining and disputing, that you may be blameless and harmless, children of God without fault in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation.
Is that Ephesians 2:14 and 15?
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
It's not my Bible passage.
That's okay. That's all right. Somebody's got it.
He himself is our peace, who has made both one, and has broken down the middle wall of separation, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, that is, with all commandments contained in ordinances, so as to create in himself a new man from the two, thus making peace, that he might reconcile them both to God in one body through the cross, thereby putting to death the enmity, and he came and preached peace to you who were afar off, to those who were near.
Okay. All right. So can we say that promise appears to have been kept? Right? Can we say that? Okay. All right. If you agree, okay. If you disagree, say so. Okay. Now, all right. And so, what it? Remember, the first. It also says that in verse 11, the Judeans and Israelites would be together. They would appoint for themselves a single ruler and go up from the land. For the day of Jezreel will be great. Now, remember Jezreel before, when he talked about naming Jezreel before, it was so God scatters or God sows. Now, though, when he restores Judah and Israel, and we say now the church of the Gentiles, the day of Jezreel is a great day. Okay? Okay? All right. All right. And as we continue to read, it says, say to your brethren, my people, and to your sisters, my mercy is shown. It shows that the redemption, when it happens, is complete. Right? Okay? Are we good to go for that? Okay, so now we're done with kind of the introductory part, right? Chapter 1 through and ending with chapter 2, verse 1. Now in chapter 1, okay, so through verse 2 that we talked about last week and this week, God is proclaiming to Israel both his justice and his mercy. Looking at the names of the children, he's going to scatter them. You're not my people. You're not pity me. I don't pity you anymore. I have no compassion. You're not my people. And yet, at the end, he says that the day of Jezreel would be great, and that mercy was going to be shown. So she's shown both justice and mercy. Just like, okay, if you're in a marriage, again, remember the example he's using. If you're in a marriage with a spouse that's unfaithful and you love them, right? You have mercy, okay? And you want to get them, right? So the times you love them, the times you don't love them, right? This is the same thing, and he's using Hosea's marriage to demonstrate what's happening with him and the people that he loves, right? Okay, so now let's go into let's go into chapter 2. What I want to do, let's just read chapter 2, verses 2 through 13. We'll read all the way through it. Then we'll come back and talk about some of it. Minister Brenda, you want to start for us, please?
Okay. It's Hosea.
Hosea chapter 2 and verses 2 through 18. 13.
Okay. Hosea chapter 2. Contend with your mother. Contend, for she is not my wife, and I am not her husband. And let her put away her harlotry from her face, and her adultery from between her breasts. For I will strip her naked, and expose her as on the day when she was born. I will also make her like a wilderness, make her like desert land, and stay her with thirst. Also I will have no compassion on her children, because they are children of harlotry.
Okay, stop. Okay, Gail, take up 5.
For their mother has played the harp. She who conceived them has behaved shameless. But she said, I will go after my lover, who gave me bread and my water, my wool and my linen, my oil and my drink. Therefore, behold, I will hedge up your way with thorns and wall you in, so that you cannot find her paths. She will chase her lovers, but not overtake them. Yes, she will seek them, but not find them. Then she will say, I will go and return to my first husband, for then it is better for me than not.
Okay, Gene, start at 8.
Okay, for she did not know that I gave her grain, new wine and oil, multiplied her silver and gold, to stay prepared for battle. Therefore I will return and take away my grain in its time, my new wine in its season, and I will take back my wool and my linen, given to cover her nakedness.
Okay, Emma, go 10 through 13.
Now, now will uncover her lewdness
Mm-hmm.
in the sight of her lovers, and no one else shall deliver her from my hand. I will also cause her mirth, who sees a feast day, a new moon, a Sabbath, or an anointed feast. And I will destroy her
Vines.
and her fig trees, of which she has said, these are my rewards, my loves have given me. So I will take her a forest, and the beasts of the field shall eat them. I will punish her for the days of the veils to which she burned incense. She decks herself with her earrings and jewelry, and went after her loves. Then she forgot.
Okay, all right, now. Okay, so let's go back now.
Lovers.
Yeah, lovers. Yeah, let's go back and look at verses 2 and 3. It says, now I'm reading from a verse called the Holman Christian Study Bible. Okay, verses 2 and 3. It says, rebuke your mother, rebuke her, for she is not my wife, and I am not her husband. Let her remove her promiscuous look from her face and her adultery from between her breasts. Otherwise, I will strip her naked and expose her as she was on the day of her birth. I will make her like a desert and like a parched land, and I will let her die of thirst. Okay, so God's painting a picture here of Israel as an adulterous wife. Okay, who he's no longer says is worthy to be a wife. Right? That shows that the relationship is broken, right, between Israel and God. Just like with a spouse that's unfaithful, you say, I'm done, right? Okay, all right. So Hosea separated himself apparently from his wife, from Gomer, and he's brokenhearted because their marriage ties have been severed. The words that he uses are kind of the words reminiscent of the formula for divorces in the Old Testament. He puts a woman. Those days, if a man could divorce a wife for nothing, really, absolutely nothing. And what he says, I'm putting you away. That's essentially what Hosea is saying. What God is saying, right, about Israel, or what Hosea is saying about his wife and God. That's a prophecy, right? Israel had offered herself to other gods in the way that a woman lewdly offers herself to lovers, right? Okay. The way that's communicated, it says this. What the phrase that says, "What's the breast thing? What's the sentence? What's the thing about the breast?" Yes, right. That's the way. Right. Okay. One woman would tempt a lover, go after a lover. That's what God is saying. Israel has done right now, and they're doing it by their worshiping of idols. Right? They've gone after idols while being married to God. He's saying enough is enough at this point. Saying enough is enough. He puts her away. What he says is, otherwise I'll strip her naked and expose her as she was in the day of her birth. I'll make her like a desert, like a parched land, like the way. Let me give you a couple of examples. The way the punishment, the punishment of adultery is kind of shown in Scripture, other places. In Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 38. If you want to go there real quick, don't lose your place in Hosea.
38.
Yeah, Ezekiel 16, 38.
And I will judge you with women who break wedlock or shed blood or judge. I will bring blood upon you in fury and jealousy.
Okay, so the punishment for adultery was tough, right? Okay, all right. So that's kind of what God is saying. Hey, this is what's going to happen because of your harlotry, right? He applies these words to Israel, who's going to become a prey. Now, later on, and we see in history, okay, he's prophesying it. Later on, Israel's going to become a prey to her enemies. Israel's going to be devastated. In terms of the land's going to be desolate. It's going to be wiped out. Okay? And essentially, they're going to be naked. Clothes stripped off, ripped off, and you're naked out there. Embarrassed now, you know. Or what's the word I want to use?
Jealousy.
That's a word, but that's not the one I'm looking for. I'll think of it in a minute. In a minute. Now remember, and as you're reading this, he refers to some things that we can remember. He talks about when you were first born, right? You're naked like when you were first born. When Israel was born, the nation of Israel was born in the wilderness. When Moses brought them out from Egypt, that's when the nation was born. So at that point in time, he's saying you're going to look like, because you're naked now, you're going to look like you were when you were born in the desert, a baby with no clothes, you know. And that place in the Bible where it talks about them, you still being in your blood all over the baby. So when she was in the wilderness, now remember this, she needed God, right? Now she's apparently thinking that she can do without all of this care, okay? Because remember, so they haven't stopped worshiping God, but they're worshiping God and these idols, right? Okay, so that's like you married, you go home at night, or you go home tonight, and tomorrow night you're not home, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, just being real. That's real. That's what happened to Hosea, and that's what was happening with God and Israel.
That was in real life.
Right. So think then that happens in life. Think about how God feels when the one He loves, the nation He birthed, the nation He was going to use to have redemption, salvation for mankind to come through, that nation now is doing this stuff. Think about how you feel. Okay? So, no. Is God any different? No. All right? And so he's saying, but he's telling Hosea to tell them through his life, unless things change, some stuff is going to happen that's going to cause you to think about coming home. Okay? All right. Now, and these lovers that Hosea is talking about is that we're worshiping the idols, the Baals. Okay, and Baal is, when I say Baal, it's many times it's plural. It's not just one god. Okay, there's a number, but they're all fertility type of. And then Baal, the female of that group, is called the Asherah. That's a pole, okay, like a tree. So this is who they're worshiping. They're worshiping the fertility gods because remember, This is a prosperous time. Okay? So all they think they're doing is they're taking advantage of the newest technology. That's, so why don't we just go over here? Well, these guys are worshiping all these nothing. They're worshiping idols, and the whole reason in this time, during this time, is prosperous. So they're looking around and they're seeing it. So they said, "Hey, let's do what they do, and maybe we'll continue to be prosperous, because it's a very prosperous time for them." Okay. Verses 4 and 5 say what? Of Hosea chapter 2.
Also, I will have no compassion on your children, because they are children of harlot.
Okay, right. And the next verse,
For
yeah.
their mother has played the harlot. She who conceived them has acted shamefully. For she said, I will go after my lovers, who give me my bread and my water, my wool and my linen, my oil and my drink.
Okay, so he's saying, hey, I'm not going to have any mercy on the children of Israel because their mother is unfaithful. Your unfaithful wife, or the nation's unfaithful. So I'm not going to have any mercy on any of you. Okay, because of your mother, is what he's saying, right? Because of the nation, I'm not going to have mercy. Now, in Scripture, you'll find a lot of times that God refers to shepherds and your leaders as those that are being real corrupt, right? The priest. And because they are corrupt, okay, they corrupt the people, so the punishment, though they're the leaders, okay, the punishment falls on the judgment, falls on everybody, the whole nation. Remember when David, for whatever reason, wanted there to be a census so he could figure out how big his army was, okay? And his chief of staff said, "No, don't do that." And David said, "No, do it." So he went and took a census, okay? And because of that, okay, there was a plague that killed thousands of his people. They didn't do anything, but it was the leader. So what happened? So it's important that we, and that's what's important about that, is that as we look to folk for guidance, you want to make sure that your leaders are the kinds of people that follow Christ. But that Paul says, you follow him as he follows Christ. All right. Okay. Because now he's saying he's not going to have mercy on any of the children because she has said, the mother, okay, or Israel, that says, I will go after my lovers who give me bread, wine. So their belief, okay, is that their lovers, or these gods, these fertility gods, are the ones who are giving them whatever it's called them to be prosperous. The agriculture to grow, or their livestock. All right. Now, but let's read verses 6 through 8. Gene, got it?
Therefore, behold, I will hedge up your way with plenty, and wall her in, so that she cannot find her path. She will clasp her lovers, but not overtake them. Yes, she will seek them, but not find them. Then she will say, I will go and return to my first husband, for then it was better for me than now. For she did not know that I gave her grain, new wine, and oil, and multiplied her silver and gold, to stay prepared for Baal.
Okay. So God was angry now. God was angry because some things were happening. When, as you read there, what he says, he's angry. So what he says is, look, I'm going to block. You're not going to be able to go after your lover. That's what he's saying. Hey, I'm going to block your way now, so you're not going to be able to go, right? And block
the way.
Yeah. What it says. Remember, verse 6 says, therefore, this is what I'll do. I'll block her way with thorns. I will enclose her in a wall, so she cannot find her paths. Okay, she will pursue her lovers, but not catch them. Blocking would, and it doesn't mean necessarily that he's put the wall up there, but stuff is going to happen.
So it's like,
To keep her from
To keep her right, or to cause her right, or to cause her to check herself and say, "Hey, this is not right." Go ahead.
it's like, okay, I spent a night out, but I realized I made a mistake, so now I'm trying to go back. So he's blocking me from going back.
No, he's putting a barrier.
So you couldn't get out.
Oh, so I can't get out to go. Okay.
Right. That's right. So, right. So you're at home and you want to go out,
Oh, okay.
but stuff happens so you can't go. Okay.
That's keep her from
All right.
Get out
Okay.
of trouble.
Okay. Okay. Now the hedge. There's two things about hedges. In this way, God's saying He'll put a hedge of thorns around them, which means you can't get out. But remember, there's another time God put a hedge around a person, right, for protection. Go to Job. Job chapter 1, verses 9 and 10. And what he's putting, the hedge that he's putting around Israel, that he's telling Hosea about, is not the kind of hedge we're going to read about. Job 1, 9 and 10. Go ahead.
Does Job fear God for nothing? Satan replied, have you not put a hedge around him and his household and everything he has? You have blessed the work of his hands, so that his flocks and herds are spread throughout the land. But stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he will surely curse you to his face.
Okay, so God, this is not that kind of hedge that he's talking about, the Hosea. This is the kind of hedge that's harmful. So when a hedge of thorns, if you're trying to get out, right? But a hedge of thorns, you're going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck, and it's not going to feel good, right? and it's going to hurt. So to bring Israel to repentance, God is going to set a hedge of thorns on the side of her, so it hurts whenever she wants to get out, right? So let's say you can go out, but there's going to be a lot of pain in your getting out. Okay, all right. So when God hedges our way with thorns, okay, we don't like it. Usually, we sometimes even think God's against us, or we want to do something and it hurts. It don't work, right? Right. We shouldn't be doing it. So it hurts. We think God's against us. But it really is God showing His love for you when He hedges you about with thorns and walls you in. But He doesn't want you out there getting hurt, right? Or doing things that are going to hurt you. Okay? But then it says, it says in verse 7, she's gonna wait. Is it 7 where she goes back to her husband? Number real low. Yeah, no. 7. She says to go pursue her lovers, but not catch them. She will seek them, but not find them. Then she will think, okay, I will go back to my former husband, for it was better for me then than now. Okay, she's out there, Israel. She's out there now. But things are not, the grass is not as green as you thought. So I'm going to go back home. I'm going to go back to my first love. So Israel will repent. So the marriage doesn't end, right? The marriage doesn't end. But it doesn't last long, right? It doesn't last long.
It doesn't end, but it doesn't last long.
The marriage doesn't end. She repents, okay? Okay? And comes back, okay? But it don't last, right? She does it again, become unfaithful again. You're married, okay? You got an unfaithful spouse. Sometimes it's a man or woman, doesn't matter. You got an unfaithful spouse. They go out there. It ain't green grass. It's not green. I'm going back home, okay? Go back home for a while. But then because of the way you are, this is Israel, because of the way they are, it doesn't last. You come home, You come home, things are great for a while, okay? But you got this thing in you, that's spinning on you, and so you go out. All right? Okay, so she's going to repent. Come back.
Sit over here. Okay? You sit over here. Well, it's good to see all of y'all up here. Oh, we having a Bible study.
But now, okay. But now, 'cause she realized when she goes back. He said what it says that she didn't realize, because before it said that remember we read that she believed that all this prosperity was because of her other gods, her lovers, right? Okay. But now it says she didn't realize. Okay, what we just read. She didn't realize even when she went after those gods, and that was all of this prosperity. They did not realize. Israel did not realize that it was the Lord that was providing for her. Right? That's with us. When we think that our accomplishments are things that we've done because we worked hard. I've worked hard, and I've been all this time in school. I've worked hard, so I've accomplished this. Right? But what we don't realize is that it was because of God that we were able, the Lord, that we were able to accomplish what we have accomplished. Right? But the problem is with Israel and with us sometimes is that we don't acknowledge that, right? When for example, when Hosea provided for his example, okay, when Hosea provided for Gomer, right, she went out and spent it on her lovers. When God provided abundant harvests, okay. Then when the feast days came, the sacrifices, they were sacrificing that stuff that God had provided, put to Baal, right? Okay, so they didn't realize that that's what was happening. And what's going to happen, and he said it, is he's going to take all of that away, right? And it happened to Israel when they went into exile in Assyria. They had no more cattle. They had no more sheep. They had no more abundant harvest. We need to remember that ourselves. Now, salvation is forever. Okay? That doesn't ever leave you. Once you're saved, you're saved. But the stuff that we like, right? We like nice clothes, we like nice things, we like nice people, we like nice houses, we like nice stuff, right? But that stuff could be taken away. Because there are consequences, especially if we're doing things that are sinful, right? Because remember, there are consequences to everything we do. And if a sin, whether it's against you or against somebody, there are consequences for that. Now, the wages for sin is death. Okay. Now, but if you're saved, that's not eternal death. Okay. But it could mean physical death, right? With sin, right? Yeah. But there are consequences to other stuff, other sins. There are consequences to infidelity. Let's say that's what that is, right? Some stuff can happen to you that will last till you die, right? So we have to kind of remember that. So God's saying, "Look, Israel, here's what's going on with me and you. Look at Hosea. Hosea is saying, here's what's happening with my life. I married this woman. She's promiscuous. She's left me. I don't even know if this last son is mine, right? She's promiscuous. I've provided for her. Then she's taking what I've provided for her. She's giving them to her lover." That's what God is saying that Israel is doing, and that's what happens sometimes in the church. Let's think about today. What we want to do, our study is about Hosea's prophecy to Israel. Okay, but let's look at Israel as being now the church, because essentially now God's people, which is Israel is now the church. We are God's people, so we can do the same kind of stuff Israel was doing. And again, there's going to be some conflict. Of chapter 2 next week and go on from. Heavenly Father, thank you for this time today. Thank you for those that are here. I ask that you bless